Hi again, guys, thanks for joining me for what I'm going to say is probably my last Allan Holdsworth song lesson video. This is the last song in the list of all the ones that I want to do going back, I don't know, about 2 years now. There still might be a couple left. So after this video, I'm working on another video, which I'm really excited about. I kind of want to keep hush on it, but it might be, some people might really love it, some people might find it a little bit controversial, but it's going to take me a long time to put it out, so I think it'll probably be done sometime early next year. But while I'm doing that, in the meantime, I might do another lesson video, but as far as I know, this is the last one that I really wanted to do. We're going to do 0274. And this song is kind of interesting because I had to do a lot of research on it, because the way that it's played live is different from the album. And what I think is Allan had wrote and recorded the song first, then later when he played it out decided to change around a couple of things. So I'm going to talk about that at the end of the video, what's actually different, but I'm going to focus on what the studio version is really doing, because I believe that's what people are more associating the song with. Also, the solo structure is kind of interesting, kind of something that we've seen in another Allan tune and Lanyard Loop, so I'll talk about that I guess in the next part. So anyway, let's just get started. Let's do 0274. So before we get started with the intro, I just wanted to talk about the song a bit. So as I said, I believe the song was recorded first and then played out. So the intro of the song that we're going to do now, there's a part that's different live than there is on the record. And also in the solo section, there's a chord that sort of alternates between two different chords that is also on the record, but not always done live. And like I said, I'll talk about that later. The solo section is also pretty interesting because the chords that Allan is playing the first time is really the solo section. It's sort of like there's two parts, like an A part and then an A variation, but Allan starts the solo on the A variation, not the first part. So think of it maybe instead of A variation, AB, just because it'll be easier to say. So we saw this in Lanyard Loop, where I had as a lead sheet, and you could see that it had two sections that were very similar, and instead of soloing at the beginning at the A section, Allan actually starts his solo on the second half, or the B section, and that's what actually happens here. So I'll talk about that in the next section, but I'm going to talk about now the intro. So this song has kind of a motif of putting the 9 on the bottom, at least that's how I interpret it as, and I'll talk about that in other times we see this kind of idea coming around. So at the beginning of it, Allan actually uses the volume pedal to kind of swell in, but he's not using the swell sound. He plays his E major, but with the 9 on the bottom. And we've kind of seen him use this type of voicing in other songs, like The Un-Merry-Go-Round is one that comes to mind, where like we're playing, let's say, a C major with the A in the bass, or a C minor with the A with the 9 in the bass. Did I say the A? Yeah, the C major with the D in the bass, C minor with the D in the bass. And that's what I think the motif is here. So Allan's playing an E major, but with the 9 in the bass. So we have the F sharp there. So this is an E major 9. Then it goes to G sharp minor, add 9. A major, add 9. And that's all diatonic to E major. And then it goes to C minor, add 9. Now with all these different chords, just for that section, Allan likes to sort of bend the chord upwards a little bit. Kind of like that. Now we have the next sort of answer section to that. We have this A flat major minor chord, but with the major 7 in the bass, G. So this is an A flat minor major 7 in third inversion. And we've seen Allan use this chord before. What's interesting here is where the bass line is actually going to be moving down chromatically here. So here we have a A flat minor major 7 with the or A flat with the G in the bass. Then that goes to a F sharp minor 7 flat 5. half diminished. Then it's those same two chords again, but now we have a F sharp minor major 7 with the F in the bass. Then it goes to E minor 7 sharp 5 at flat 5. And then it ends finally on a third inversion E flat minor major 7 chord. And then Allan actually plays the G there and then hammers on with his pinky for the A. So this is what that whole section sort of sounds like. Oh. Then after that comes a C sharp major 13 chord. You can also think of this as a first inversion B flat minor add 9, but I think it'll be easier calling it a C sharp major 13 to a D major 13 to an E major 13. Then we have this next type of these groups of chords, which I sort of associate with Water on the Brain. I mean, I can't play it up here for this guitar, but that's this kind of C major 9 kind of chord, where the root is on the B string, and that's kind of what's happening here. But now we have E, G sharp, and a D with the F sharp on the bottom, which is to get the 9. So this is like an E7 with the 9, so an E9 chord. Same idea here, but now it's an F sharp minor 7 with the 9 in the bass, so an F sharp minor 9, G sharp minor 9. Then it goes to this weird chord. Now the problem here is if you call C sharp the root like I did for the other ones, you kind of have a really difficult chord name. But also, as soon as this chord is being played, Allan plays an A, and it arpeggiates the chord like so. So I think the better name for this chord, we have an A, an E, and a C, so we have our minor triad there, and then we have a 6 or a 13, so it's like it's a A minor 6 with the sharp 11. And then Allan sort of plays this little motif, A, E, C, F sharp, D sharp, C, then he moves his pinky down to B, pulls off the A, and then plays the G sharp there. And we have pretty much all the components of a chord that belongs to A Lydian dominant, A, B, C, D sharp, E, F sharp, G sharp. It's a Lydian dominant, Lydian minor, because we've got the G sharp in there. So that belongs to me A Lydian minor or harmonic major. So it's just for that part. Then it goes back to that E major 9 motif. Here is where on the live version Allan plays something different live. On the record it's just 4 chords, but live it's 6 chords. So on the record, Allan plays a G sharp major 7 sharp 5, then goes to G, goes to F, and then ends on E sus4, E7 sus4, because we have the 7 here, the sus4, the 5, and then Allan then adds the C here, the flat 6 or the sharp 5. So it's kind of like an altered dominant kind of chord, which is kind of cool. Then Allan plays an A power chord, and with his right hand taps a G sharp and an F. Then you move that power chord up to C, and then now you don't have to tap anymore, but now you play a G sharp and a D sharp, the flat 6, and then the minor 3rd. So that whole section kind of sounds like this. Just speeding up a little bit. Then comes this cool add 9 minor add 9 section that I've talked about I think in another video. What's interesting here is this part has a 4 feel and it comes back also in the solo, but during the solo it changes the feel. It goes from a 4 feel to a 3 feel. So the first chord here is actually a B flat 9 B flat sus4 add 9. And then it goes to an F sharp minor add 9. Oops. But now you're adding in the flat 13 on the top. So you have F sharp, C sharp, G sharp, A, but now you're adding in a D up here on the B string. Now what's interesting is that Allan swaps the octave that those notes are in, so then he plays C sharp, but then moves the C sharp that his third finger is playing up a half step to D. which is cool because it gives the chord a different sort of color to it. So to me this has a very Aeolian sound, and this has a Lydian sound to it, even though it's the same exact notes, just swapped around a little bit. Then that chord, that first minor add 9 with the flat 13, gets moved up to B flat, and then an A flat add 9 says 4. And then a plain old E minor major 7 chord. And then what happens is here is that the minor third and the fifth move up a half step, so this G goes to G sharp and that B goes to C, and now you have, he's not playing the rest of the chord, he's just sliding those fingers up and you get a E major 7 sharp 5 sound. Then after that it goes back to the E major motif, E major add 9 motif. Then those major 7 sharp 5 chords again. G major 7 sharp 5, G sharp major 7 sharp 5, G, F, and then E, E7 sus 4 with the flat 13 or the sharp 5. So that's the intro part, except for that one little exchange, it's the same live. So this is what that whole part sounds like as per the record. One thing I forgot to mention is that this part has a very rubato or open feel to it, so there's no real strict sense of time to any of these chords. This kind of goes by feel. Now onto the solo section. So as I just stated before, this solo section really has two parts to it before it fully repeats. There's an A section and then what I call the B section, but it's really a variation of the A section. And they're almost identical, except there's one part that's transposed down a minor third, and then one chord that moves up a half step. Now that's pretty much the same for the live version, except there's one chord that stays the same through both repeats. Again, I'll talk about that at the end. The other thing that's interesting about this is the first time that A section is played, Allan is playing with the band. Then the B section is where Allan starts his solo, like I said we did in Lanyard Loop. Then he solos over the A and then the B section, and then it moves to the other person, whether it's the trumpet player or Dave Carpenter, who played the song live mostly with Allan. He takes a solo there. So the A section, when everyone's playing the same, there's a part of that song that's has a 4 feel, but then once the band starts soloing over it, once Allan and Dave or the trumpet player start soloing, that part is in 3, which is kind of interesting. So I'll talk about that when we get to this. So this solo section is also similar to other Allan songs where it's the solo section sort of a variation of the head harmony. It's not a direct, it's not the direct exact chords. Kind of like in Sphere of Innocence or House of Mirrors. It's got ideas from the head, but it's not exactly the same. So right off the bat, we've got a very kind of weird way of calling this chord. Allan starts off with just an A minor. So he's barring with his first finger on the 5th fret, but then your first finger moves down to the 3rd fret, and then you're playing this B flat and a D. this kind of harmony is weird because the bass third, I think this part goes through 4 measures. It's 4/4 through 4 measures, and the bass is really hammering A, and that's the tonality that you hear. But once you move your first finger down here, you're going to have a flat 9 and a 4 or an 11. So I guess it's like a sus4 with an added flat 9. But how I think, how Allan is thinking of this is actually in G Dorian, or like a G minor 6/9 kind of thing with the 9 on the bass. The reason why I say that is because, I mean, this chord could be interpreted as 2 different ways. You could think of it as like a B flat major 7 with the sharp 11. So here's a B flat major 7, but if I take my pinky and move it down the F to an E here, I'd have a B flat major 7 sharp 11, or you can think of it as a G minor 6/9 if I'm playing G as my root here. But like I said, this whole song has that tonality where the 9 is in the bottom, so I think that's what's going on here. He's thinking of it as a G minor 6/9, but with the A in the bottom and just not playing the G. Once again, this is what Allan talks about. The name of what we call these things is really not important. It's how it sounds. He's thinking G Dorian or F major over this, so you can think of it however you want here. I'm going to call this G minor 6/9 just because it's easier for me to understand very quickly and talk about. I mean, you can even see within the G Dorian mode, we got this here, this, and this. So it's possible that's what he's thinking of. So anyway, it's 4 measures of this kind of G minor 6/9 with the 9 in the bass kind of thing. Like I said, the A is really ringing out through there, so it has more of a Phrygian sound to it. Then that chord moves down a half step, so once again we'll have like an F sharp minor 6/9 with the 9 in the bass kind of thing. Then it goes to an F major 7 sharp 5. Then Allan uses his right hand to tap a D on the 12th fret on the D string, so now makes it an F major 13. Like that. Then that first chord gets really moved back up to B flat. So I would say this is like a B flat minor 6/9. And then it goes to this chord, which is a C major with the D flat in the bass, or a C major with the flat 9, or add flat 9, or if you want to think of D flat as your root, it's a D flat minor major 7 sharp 11. Once again, however you want to interpret it. Then what Allan does is he takes his first finger and moves it to F, and his pinky up to D flat. So he's got that little motif, that note motif to work with. Like that. So this is what that whole part sounds like up to there. So like I said, that's Allan's playing this A section along with the band. Then this next sequence of chords is the part that gets modulated down a minor third during the B section. It's a G sharp with an A major with the add sharp 11, and then that moves up a minor third to B, B power chord, with a C major with the add sharp 11. Then we have a C minor 6/9, it's a D minor 6/9, E minor 6/9, and even Allan plays the little 9 on the top like that, and that goes to, goes to an F sharp major with the G in the bass, or F sharp major, the flat 9, or again G minor major 7 sharp 11. That whole section was modulated down in the next B section. Then after that they converge together, and now we have this sort of 3 feel. We have this chord that's once again similar to what we saw in the head, this G sharp minor with the 9 in the bass, and that moves to C, C minor and 9, and then a D flat major with the 9 in the bass, and then Allan plays the A flat with his pinky up here. Now we have that add 9 section that we saw earlier, and this time, like I said, this time it's has a 4 feel. When this part comes back during the B section and then the subsequent repeats up until the band plays it again at the end of the song, it has a 3 feel, but here it has a 4 feel, and at the end it has a 4 feel. So it starts off with the C sharp minor add 9 with the flat 13. Then B add 9 says 4. Then G minor add 9 with the flat 13. Same motif, and then that moves to B. And then an F major 7 sharp 5 chord. Then it goes back to a 3 feel with this F major with the G in the bass, or F major add 9. Then C sharp minor with the minor 9 with the 9 in the bass. Then D major with an E in the bass, or D major add 9. And then E major with an F in the bass, E major, the add flat 9, or F minor major 7 sharp 11. And that's the end of the A section. Then it repeats back. That chord is the one that moves on the B section, which I'll talk about after this. So after that goes right back to the beginning of the just repeats again, but that's that variation. So even when Allan's playing it here, the second time, he has a little, now a B flat major with the A in the bass. So again, it's diatonic to F major, or G Dorian. B flat major, A minor, G minor 6 over 9, and then F sharp minor 6 over 9. So I'll play through that section, and then I'll play through the B section when it repeats, and I'll talk about how it's different here. Alright, so here's the A section, and then when it goes to the B section I'll keep on playing and I'll mention how it's different. The B section, still the same whole idea. Same thing. Now here's the part I was saying before. Now that G sharp, that sort of add sharp 11 section is now moved down and transposed a minor third, so now it's F to an F sharp minor with the add sharp 11. I'm F sharp major with the add sharp 11. Then G sharp minor, G sharp power chord, and then A major with the sharp 11. Those other chords are also modulated down, so A minor 6 over 9, B minor 6 over 9, C sharp minor 6 over 9, and then E flat major or D sharp major with the E in the bass, or again E flat add flat 9, or E minor major 7 sharp 11. Then once again it converges back to the same thing. Now it has a 3 feel, A flat minor or G sharp minor add 9. And like I said, here is where it has that 3 feel. See. I don't even know if that was a 3-feel for whatever reason. I can't hear it, but it makes sense with the drums, and if you count along with it, you'll hear it. Still a 3-feel, and then that's the difference at the very end of that song. Allan, instead of playing an E major with the F in the bass, he plays a F major with an F sharp in the bass. Now, this is the part that gave me a lot of sort of trouble trying to figure out. Now, the first time on the record, when Allan plays that E major with the F in the bass, Dave Carpenter sounds like he's playing an F sharp. He might be trying to play an F and just kind of miss it, because I believe he's using a stand-up bass, so it's fretless. But then every other time he plays an F there, which is kind of strange. But it works because either I'm playing an E major with an F in the bass or an F major with an F sharp in the bass, so both times the note is right. Like I said, live it's different there, and I'll talk about that towards the end. But that's the whole solo section. It repeats the same except for that minor third down. And then the very end. So that was the B section, like I said, Allan solos over. So he solos over the B section, then the A section again, and then the B section. And then that's where it transfers over to the trumpet player, or live Dave Carpenter playing bass solo over it. So the trumpet player plays over the A section and the B section, but what's interesting is in the middle of the B section is where it starts to transfer out of the solo and then into the outro. So I'll talk about that here. Alright, so I'll play in the middle of the B section as it's winding out of the solo. I'll start from the sharp 11 part. And now at this part, once it goes into that 3-feel, that's where the band converges. So the soloist will be wrapping up now from their solo to actually start to play the outro of the song. So it's the same exact thing for the G sharp minor add 9 to C sharp minor add C minor add 9, and then back to this add 9 section. But now once again it's got that 4-feel again. Now here's the outro part of the song. So instead of continuing like the B section that we just played, Allan starts to use motifs that we saw earlier in the intro part. He plays an F sharp minor 7 flat 5 chord to a E7 sus4 chord, but he's not adding the flat the sharp 5 or flat 13 here. It's just the 4 notes. Then up to a G sharp major 7 sharp 5 to a G7 sus4. And then we have the outro chord. Now I think Allan's actually tapping the A here, but this part, the left hand, is right. What's interesting here is Allan's actually playing 2 C's, which you very rarely see when he's playing a chord. Usually every note is unique. But when you add up all the notes here, we have an F Lydian kind of sound, or an F major 9 with the sharp 11, because we've got our 1 or 5 or 9 here, the 5 again, the sharp 11, the major 7, and then we're tapping the major 3rd. Live, he kind of does whatever there. But that's how the song ends. So, as I said, most of the song is really the solo, and the intro takes up just a lot of time. So there's a lot of chords, but once you get the hang of it, you realize how similar they are. So now, after this, I'm going to talk about how the live version is different, in case you got the Warsaw 98 version, and why it's a little bit different in other subsequent versions. So I'll talk about my research here. So as I said, from sort of asking questions and trying to figure out what's going on, like I said, I believe Allan recorded the song first and then changed it around, which I believe is the only song he's actually done that to. I mean, you might be able to make a case for like Looking Glass, or Non-Broom Condiment, but the difference is those songs were written in a different tuning and then adapted to standard. This is a song that was written in standard and then subsequently changed because either Allan didn't like how the part was or just had a different idea. So like I said, for the intro part, yeah, everything is kind of the same, you know, with all this part, that whole thing. But then the second time when it comes around, instead of playing those 4 chords, Allan does something different here. He plays 6 chords instead. It's kind of like a bridge between the first part and then the part that comes afterwards, in a way. So it starts off with the A flat major 7 sharp A flat minor major 7 with the A flat minor with the major 7 in the bass. But then it goes to G minor 7 flat 5. That moves to an F minor 7 flat 5, and then an E flat 7 sus 4. With the, I think Allan just plays this. For some reason I thought he plays the 5 string. That's just these 4 notes. So it's, whoops. Then jumps up to a G sharp major 7 sharp 5, and then ends on the E7 sus 4 sound. And then adds the flat 13 there. And then everything else is the same. So let me play with the new sequence sounds, just in case you're a little unsure where that happens in the song. So this is the first part. And then the second time. And this is where that changes only on the live version. Oops. So that's that part. Now the other thing was during the solo section how it alternates between those two diminished sounding chords. So the first time the A section has an E major with the flat 9, and then the B section has the F major with the F sharp in the bass. Now, like I said on the record, Dave Carpenter only plays F there, which works for both of them. But on the live versions, it's different. Allan plays on the A section, the very end. He plays the F sharp, the F with the F sharp in the bass. He doesn't alternate between them. So both A and B section end with the same chord. Both times. Now, in doing research, I think Allan played this song. He started it in 97. He played it in 97, 98, 99, 2000, and I think 2001. So about 5 years. And within those 5 years, Allan had 2 different bass players. By the way, I want to thank my friend German Sanchez for being able to share with me a live performance for each year so I can kind of do some research here, and he also gave me a clue to who the bass players were. So in the first 97 through 99, Dave Carpenter was the bass player, and he took a bass solo over that section. But now what's interesting, live versions, like I said, Allan plays the F sharp with the F with the F sharp in the bass. Dave Carpenter always plays an F sharp there live. And then on both times when the Allan's soloing, that's how he's treating it as. Allan never plays the chords to the B section in the song. He only plays the A section, and then when the chords are being played for the B section towards the end, it goes to the outro into a different section. So you can only really tell by the bass note and what Allan's actually playing to interpret it as. And then I think in 2000 and 2001, Jimmy Johnson was the bass player, but he didn't take a solo over this. He just played the song normal, and then Allan was the one that I think he did the solo for the B, A, and B section, and then that last B section went out to the outro, just like cutting out the bass solo and ending it sort of in the same fashion. Jimmy Johnson always plays an F there. So what's interesting is because that note works with both the E major with the F in the bass and the F major with the F sharp in the bass. So it's really hard to tell how Allan is interpreting that, but so out of all those shows, I think Dave Carpenter came back in 2001 and then played the F sharp, maybe 2002. I'm going off the top of my head. It's hard to really tell because if you just play an F there, you can play either the E diminished scale or the F diminished scale, and it's going to work. So it's really hard to interpret what Allan's doing, but for the licks and stuff that I tried to figure out what he's playing, it seems like a majority of the time he's treating it as F half whole diminished, or treating it like he's playing a F major with an F sharp in the bass. It might have been accidents that he played before. I mean, if you want, this is all the research that I did. I'll post a picture here just by trying to figure out who played what and where and how. So you can see I put in a lot of work. Why? I don't know. I just wanted to figure it out definitively, and the answer is I'm not really sure, but I think I'll say, alright, this is the definitive part. On the record it alternates, and I think live it doesn't alternate. He changed it for whatever reason, and the bass players just play different notes because how they heard it. Anyway, so that's 0274 and a lot of unnecessary information, but I might as well put it out there. So anyway, this is it. Thank you so much for joining me. I still might put out another video. It depends if I feel like I want I get the itch or not. But the next video that I want to put out, that I'm putting all this work in, I think is going to be my best work because I'm putting so much effort and info into it. So like I said, there might be some controversies in there. People might scream blasphemy, but I will have more than enough proof to back it up. That even might sound controversial, but it's really not. It's no slight against anybody. It's just something that I found surprising and interesting. So anyway, thanks a lot for joining me for all these lessons. If I do another one, I'll see you then. If not, thank you so much, and I'll see you guys in a few months.